there were so many questions from the autism community. So many questions. One of them I love was a personal story from someone named Jacob. He said, I'll read them. I'm just going to read most of it. It said, Mr. Yang, my sister has autism. She just turned 21, so she is aged out of her school program. My family is now in the heavily bureaucratic process of securing adult services for her, and we've all been frustrated about how much complication there seems to be in just being able to make sure that my sister continues to achieve her goals and make necessary progress. My question for you is, I've seen a lot of people are championing the fact they love that you talk about this, and I do too personally. But the question was, I've seen your policy. What would you do to implement further aid? What would you do for families and with adults with autism, kids with autism? What would you do to fix our process, our funding? Like that, the questions go on and on.
Yeah. The first question that comes to mind for me from this questioner, what's his name?
Was Jacob.
Is where does Jacob live? Because the services look different in different
I
parts
have a
of the
zip
country.
code, but I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, no, I mean we don't need to do that.
Okay.
That's fine. But so services are different in different parts of the country, and that's really part of the problem. Is that you have certain communities that have some resources available, and many communities that do not. And to me, this is something we should be solving for at the national level, because this is the new normal. Autistic children often grow up to become autistic adults. And there are autistic families that say to me that to the extent there is any support, it stops completely at the end of schooling. But there are many families whose autistic members are going to have needs well past 18 or 21. Right. I mean, many, like their entire lives. And it can destroy families. It can destroy lives. And
Jacob's in Connecticut, which has a generally speaking pretty solid public school system for this.
Yeah, so the least we can do is try to address this collectively and nationally and say, look, this is the new normal. This is our future. We can't just say you're on an island when you have a child who is going to need some degree of support and services for their entire lives. We should federalize those resources, put billions of dollars to work. And the great thing there is you'll end up creating opportunities around supporting various people with autism in ways that people would really want. There are a lot of people who want those jobs. It's just that right now there aren't resources for them. If you go to the average community or school district, right, you can say hey, what are the resources available? They're just not there. And I feel for many of these communities because they have limited budgets and resources, and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was talking to the vice chair of one of the national autism organizations, and she said that they had people checking on school districts to see whether they were doing what they were supposed to do in the school.
Right.
And they had people hiding from them in the school because they just didn't want to have to have that conversation.
Oh my gosh.
But then she said she didn't actually blame the school because even if they had the money, they wouldn't have been able to hire someone with the right expertise in that part of the country anyway. So there's so many problems that we can address if we start trying to put the resources to work. So feel for you. His name was Jeff?
Jacob.
So Jacob, thank you for all you do for your sister. We have to help you do much more. I would say federal resources put to work. I know you have to go through so much red tape, it's insane. We have to try and make it more straightforward. Right. And give you a clearer path forward, give you and your sister and hundreds of thousands of families around the country a clear path forward.